Welcome to Schmooze with Suz. I'm Suz Montgomery, your host, and I haven't had a good rant in a while. It's time. I don't think I've had a really good rant since Elton Gallagher was your congressman many years ago, and thank God he's gone. Now we're blessed with Julia Brownlee, who's actually getting something done, so I'm really happy about that. But if you've been watching the news lately, like I do, and I'm an avid watcher, my husband and I watch a lot of news broadcasts, and I'm very engaged in working with politics. That's what I love to do. That's not my avocation, but maybe it's becoming one. So today's rant is starting with my moral outrage. Meals on Wheels were cut today. Can you imagine? Mr. Trump, your president, not mine, 45th president of the United States, cut Meals on Wheels to deserving seniors, our people, my people. Kids' lunches. No more free lunches, kids. No more free breakfast. Some of these meals are the only meals kids get every single day, along with my seniors. If they don't get Meals on Wheels, they starve. Put that on your conscience. Number 3, public radio and TV are on the chopping block. I might not be here next week. That does not make me happy either. Number 4, healthcare. 24 million people, at a conservative guess, might be affected by the new health care plan. God knows what it is. None of them can agree at either side on the congressional aisle either. Number 5, how about EPA? Pollutants in the air. Gee, you want to live through smog again? Didn't we get rid of that one time? Who's going to get rich here? Oil companies? Where's Mr. Tillerson? He's really quiet. He's from Exxon, is he not? I haven't heard from him lately. What's he cooking up next? Number 6, jobs. Oh, this one really gets me. Immigration. Okay, let's cut the workforce. He wants to grow the economy, but cut the workforce? Mr. Trump, do you want to pick strawberries? Number 6, how about deportations and that big wall that Mexico's going to have? Who's paying for that? Not me. I'm your taxpayer, and I'm not paying for that. End of rant. If you don't like what I have to say, email at the bottom of the screen. Let me know how you feel. But make it nice. Hi, and welcome to Schmooze with Suz. I'm Suz Montgomery, your host, and wow, we've got John Nichols in the house. Now, John Nichols is a great friend of ours, my husband John and myself, and I'm a big fan of your work.
Thank you.
I love what you do. His mother-in-law is my student, by the way, and his wife is one of our friends. But John's got, oh, I would love to have your job. It's amazing. How would you describe what you do?
It was so hard to explain it that I just decided to call myself an artist, and then depending on what day of the week it is and what I'm doing, today I'm an independent curator, but I'm also a photo historian, a photographer, an art dealer, picture framer, a writer, but
multi-talented.
I'm here today as an independent curator, and a curator is somebody who develops museum exhibits.
Well, currently you have some of your work, and we were really happy to see you when we had the Women's March, and you've got your pin on, Justice for All, that's our group, and down at the local museum down in Ventura.
Yeah, Museum of Ventura County. So
you've got your photographs up there.
And your subject, you and John are in one of my
We're in the
one of my favorite photographs of the group.
That's one of my favorites too, because that was, I think Marie Lakin had Be Kind, but it was such an unusual day. We were anticipating just like 100 people at max.
Oh, it was amazing.
What did we have? 300 people?
300 people, and then, but Ana Bermudez is continuing to make social change through museum exhibits. And this is one of my positions, is that I'd rather not participate in politics. It seems a little, I don't want to get my hands too dirty, but
Oh, I'll get mine dirty for you, John.
You can do,
Yeah, I'll do
but
that.
if I can put on an exhibit to make social change, because I want to raise awareness about topics, whether it's art about agriculture is one of my exhibits. So we raise people's awareness about agriculture and workers. And currently, I have an exhibit called the 1936 Mexican Snapshot Mystery.
But you do this through education with your photographs, correct?
Well,
how many do you have, really? How many photographs in your collection? Have you ever counted?
No, because they come in faster than they go out.
How do you know which ones to keep and which ones are worthy historically speaking?
Well, I've trained myself as an artist and as a writer to observe my reality as directly as possible. So when I see another person experiencing their reality with fewer filters and so directly, and they work and they reveal that through their medium, whether it's music, writing, poetry, photography, painting, then if it speaks to me, then
that's a gift.
It's
to
a
be
gift.
able to see that, because I don't think the average person sees that.
It's hard won. I mean, I spent years and years struggling, and then I developed that. I developed it in order to be a better artist myself, but then I wanted to share with other people, so when I applied the same standards to a museum exhibit, my intention is always to get a person in the door, have them look, and have them be changed in some way. And I personally...
So a transformative process of education?
It's the beginning of transformation. You know, when you're in school, you have to know the numerals before you can start multiplying and dividing.
But how do you know? I mean, this is the gift that you have. How would you? You just you've done it and done it and done it, and you've got to be
repetition.
Okay,
is the great,
an objectivity to a certain degree, right?
Point of view.
Point of view, which is objectivity.
Yeah,
just
it's all.
But this is. I mean, this is not a simple process. This is very sophisticated.
But you
to
find
me
it in the best writers. Why are you attracted to certain writers?
Well, it's just my interest. That's all.
Yeah, and it's not independent of the topic. But I got a little secret though, that I operate on chance a lot.
What do you mean by chance?
Well, one of my favorite books was by Carl Jung. It was Chance, Synchronicity, and Human Destiny.
You're a Jungian, eh?
Yeah, I really am. I'm not a Freudian, I'm a Jungian. And,
I'm more Jungian as well.
Yeah. So
I get that.
I do journals, I do meditation, I'm trying to discover the nature of reality
You're going
as much
deep,
as possible. Sure. But the chance, if you open yourself up to the universe, you find that things keep dropping in your lap, that you just, they're there.
I totally get that.
Okay. So about 12 years ago, a man in Santa Paula died. He was a neighbor. He lived 3 or 4 doors up the street from me. His name was Bill Shudo, and he was the principal of the high school. His wife, Benetta, died in 1990, and the photographs that are on exhibit at the Santa Paula Art Museum came from her estate. These are snapshots taken in Mexico in 1936. She traveled to Mexico in 1936 and wrote captions on the back of her father's photographs, then married Bill, then moved to Santa Paula, then she died, and then in 2005, he died. Before he died, I was called in to look at the estate and try to appraise the estate and help him. And he said, I don't want to sell any of this stuff. I don't want to repair the house. I just want to die in my sleep and then call John Nichols. So that's what happened. He died in his sleep.
And he left you?
No, a week or two later, I got a phone call from Louisa Haskell.
Wait a minute, Don Haskell's wife?
Yes.
How does Louisa follow into
Louisa
this?
is the daughter of Bill Shudo and Bonetta Shudo.
Get out.
Yes, so
Don was my student
I
forever.
know,
He
I
taught
know.
school at
So
Ventura High School
the
36 years.
Chance, connections, synchronicity, and human destiny
Get
all
out of
play
here.
a part
You
in
didn't
this.
tell me this. This is great.
I didn't tell you because I wanted
To see my face,
to
right?
see the reaction.
Wow, Louisa.
Louisa, she called and said, we got this note that was left and said, after I died, call John Nichols.
Oh my God.
And
I spoke
so-
at Don's, I did his eulogy.
Okay.
That is the weirdest synchronicity.
So I helped
know she was a
him
local.
settle the estate, and I appraised some of the books and things. Then I called Don Shorts and Dee
I love Don Schwartz.
and said, "Will you handle it? It's too big for me." But I ended up buying a lot of some of the paintings and books. And a couple of weeks after the estate sale, Louisa came to me with this shoebox and said, "You know, we've got all these old curled up snapshots of Mexico. I don't think anybody wants them. Do you want them?" And I said, "Oh yeah." And there were about 8 or 900 really good quality snapshots of Mexico. And she said, "Yeah, I think they were in a book too called by Beth Adams Garner." So I
Where'd you get the book?
Ordered the book.
It's still in print?
No, you got to get it used. And then some of the photos I looked at, I said, "Well, I've got that photo. That's in the box. That's in the box."
Get out.
But I just put these away for literally 10 years and looked at them and sorted them. And then I heard that the Getty Museum is doing an initiative. They have something called an initiative where they support a concept. And the concept that's going to be going on this year, starting in September of 2017, is called LA, which is the impact of Latin America on Los Angeles, Latin American art on Los Angeles. So they're giving grants and doing everything. I'm a little too small potatoes for that, but we're going to see a lot of recognition of the impact of Latin American culture on Los Angeles through the arts.
Interesting.
And I said, this is now, I better
That's a
get into
part.
gear. This has got to be a
Yeah.
part of that. I'll get on another coattails. But, so I put together the exhibit, and it's called the 1936 Mexican Snapshot Mystery because it was a mystery that I had to solve. Who took the pictures, and why, and where, and what do they mean? And we were talking earlier about sort of the nature of reality, and
Yeah.
a commercial photograph, a fine art photograph of usually people dressed up for weddings and they're in their best.
Correct.
But that doesn't necessarily reveal the true character
Who they are.
of who they are. You get that through the unself-conscious snapshot. And if a person is not posing, and they're just walking along the
Candid.
street, candid, then you, now, the viewer, can
See, that's the artist in you. You see that.
I saw it.
See, I would
and
not
I
see that.
want the public now to see.
So you're sharing yours.
Yeah, but I can make social change because I want to show everyday life in Mexico so that we can say, gee, this is not the kind of people I'm being told stories of.
Correct.
These look like beautiful people.
Right, correct. So you're making
These like-
social change. But Louisa,
Yes.
now this is a little bit bizarre. I just got an email from her today. Talk
Okay.
about small world.
Connection.
Here we go again. This is my life has been this way. I've got all it's everything in my life. Looking back, okay, this is when I was a kid. I was taught in catechism and Catholic school when I was a kid. This is the way we see life. But at the end of your life, this is the way it comes together, and it all is part of the fabric. It's part of the material and fabric of life when it all connects. So the Luisa story with her mother in 36, was it, in Mexico?
In 1936, she went to Mexico with...
What for?
Okay, what for? Because Bess Adams Garner in 1930, she and her husband had a lot of money down in Claremont. They founded something called the Padua Hills Playhouse, which was a theater, legitimate theater.
Okay.
But the performers were Mexicans. They called them the Mexican Players. And the Mexican Players would get on stage, dance, and sing. Don Shorts told me the story that, oh, the Padua Hills Playhouse, Padua Hills Theater, I've been there. He went as a kid. They went in, he said, we got served this food that was so unusual, I'd never tasted it before. It was called an enchilada. I mean, Anglo people...
Don Shorts, for you that don't know at home, Don Shorts is kind of like, he collects antiques, antiquities. He's kind of like a local
Mexican-American
historic
scholar.
He's brilliant. He's
in
a local
1930, you had a lot of Anglos that didn't understand Mexican culture.
Correct.
And they were presented at the Padua Hills Playhouse. They were presented with actors and singers and dancers doing authentic costumes and authentic dances. So Bess Adams had to go to Mexico to collect costumes and dances. In 1936, she invited one of the photographers here, Kenneth Forbes, to travel with her. And he took a movie camera, a 16mm camera. We've got the projector showing the movies of the dances and the feet and the costumes and everyday life. And then somehow she invited Bonetta Sciuto's father and mother, because they, in 1929, founded the Allied Arts Guild in Menlo Park, which was a cultural center that's still in existence next to Stanford University, that was all about Mexican-American, Spanish colonial mission-style culture.
Wow.
Murals, architecture, all that, 1929. Then, so they were in the same club of sort of rich Anglos promoting an understanding of not alternative cultures, but mixing cultures that we have in our history. Nobody was doing that. Meanwhile, in 1936 in Los Angeles, they're repatriating millions of American citizens and Mexican citizens. Wow. And there's good and positive like that. No. So in 1930s,
Luisa gets involved?
Well, no. Luisa's father and mother, Luisa's mother, Bonetta, went to Mexico with Bonetta's father, Garfield Murner, and Delight Murner. So the three of them, the father and mother. The father brought his Leica and took pictures.
And it would be a Leica, which is a great camera.
It had to have been, and plus, but he knew Ansel Adams. He knew he was involved in promoting art, so he had a really, really good eye. And he's taking pictures that look like Edward Weston and snapshots. And all of these they're snapshot in size, but they're spectacular images that present life in Mexico as we have never seen it before.
This is not necessarily serendipitous. This is, you were supposed to have these. I mean, when you tie this together, okay, we were talking about connecting dots, right? Yeah. Off camera, we were talking about connecting dots with today's current events. God help us. But this is like connecting dots too. So you can follow this. It's like the trail that you were supposed to have.
I guess so. I'll accept that because I trained myself to be a photo historian. I studied the history of photography.
Yeah, it could have been Joe Schmo down the street. But it was you that had this experience and had the knowledge and the interest to actually put this together.
Oh, yeah.
What a gift.
And then, so it was a gift. And I started about a year and a half ago doing all this research and sorting it because I had to figure out well, who took these pictures, and then who was Kenneth Forbes? And turns out he was a citrus rancher down in Claremont that was also the stage manager at the Padua Hills Theater, and he also did the photo finishes at Santa Anita Racetrack. So he's on the trip. Garfield Murner is, and a third photographer who's just initials on the back, REG. Don't know. So I was able to.
Are these photographs the
Well,
ones
these
we're
are-
going to scan these into the show here so we can see? These are the
Well,
parts?
I sent them, so
Okay, good.
these are the kind of photographs.
They're in good condition,
but-
John.
Oh, they are. I put them into sleeves and started sorting them. REG, June 1936, and a caption. Now, the backs of Kenneth Forbes are all white. Just every once in a while a little caption, but they're white backs, and the ones that were done by Garfield Murner and have Bonetta's writing on the back, Taxco. She's the one that put the dates and captions. So
Tasco is in like the silver.
it's in the
Capital of
TAXCO,
Mexico?
yeah, Oaxaca,
Okay.
Taxco. Mostly
Okay.
central Mexico is where they
Got
were
it.
visiting. So I was able to separate out, these are all Garfield Murner, these are all Kenneth
Wow.
Forbes, and then I was able to separate out a week by week, a day by day itinerary
This is so
of
cool.
Garfield Murner in a 3-month period in Mexico, and then add some other elements.
Now you're going to have this show at the museum, right? I hope.
It's currently running at the Santa Paula Art Museum.
Is it coming to Ventura? Can we get it? If I beg?
Well, probably not. It might go to Claremont next, or
Okay, so
Northern
it's
California.
going to be a traveling.
I would love to see it travel. I would want
do
a
you-
wider
how would you
audience.
do that?
I'm putting out feelers and just waiting for the next chance occurrence. We'll see.
Well, you had something here that was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw this on the ground. I teach seniors. Everybody knows I teach seniors.
Yeah.
But this is a book that was given to me by one of my seniors many years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure this is way out of print, right? How many years old
You
is this?
can find it on the used book market.
Can you
but
get it?
it's quite.
Now, who was Judy Treem?
Well,
you said was
she's
her
a
name?
Santa Paula historian. She's a good friend of mine.
Partners in Progress by Elizabeth Blanchard.
She probably
Betsy
wrote a-
Chess's mom.
Yeah, see, more
And
connections.
I had Betsy Chess's mom. See, I
And
get
then-
everybody's mom at sooner or later. Everybody becomes my student at one time. What year was this? Doesn't even say. 1985. Okay, so it's a little.
85,
Yeah, it's-
so that's over 30 years ago.
yeah, but it's the photographs
There's
are
a lot
like.
of people in this room
here.
that weren't even born.
Well, not. By the way, 1936. Little known fact because I collect facts. I've got that kind of a screwy mind. Was the year of the 20th century with the least amount of children born in 36 because of the war,
And
impending war,
Depression and
also the Depression.
Yeah,
Nobody had kids.
Yeah.
I mean, birth control was like natural birth control. But it was really interesting because I've got students in my class,
Yeah.
and then I was kind of curious why, I kept asking dates of births of my students, and hardly anybody was in 36, and I go, what's that all about? So I
yeah.
looked it up,
And that was
1936,
for
nobody
yeah.
was born. They all waited.
And 46, you got another big old
And then you had
wave.
the
Yeah.
boomers started
Uh-huh.
bailing in. Yeah, interesting. I'm fascinated because you have probably singularly the best collection of anybody. I mean, probably.
The Getty's got bigger collections. There's.
Yeah, but
my specialty has always been the snapshot.
And
the
local.
lowly snapshot.
And local, correct?
Well, it can be local. They're harder to find, but I like snapshots. One of my other collections is called the Vernacular Bestiary, because
What's that?
vernacular. Remember when the Catholics started preaching the Mass, saying the Mass in the language of the everyday people?
1968.
Okay, they were said to have. They say the Mass in the vernacular, meaning
Correct.
in the everyday language of the
Of the
people.
people.
For there's vernacular architecture.
Oh, okay.
Now there's vernacular photography. It's the everyday language of the people, not of the highfalutin artists, not of.
I get it.
So when we say the vernacular, we can. It's always been put in disrespect. Oh, the snapshot, that's lowly. We
No,
want
it's
high art.
not.
It can be as important or more important in transmitting
agree.
the artistic.
Well, look at when you see, like, you know this, but because my dad was an artist, and so
okay.
I don't have the ability, but
Yeah.
he taught
But
me how to
you
look
can see.
for detail.
You
And
taught
he
you how to
taught me
see.
detail, and I could see, and it was always black and white. He says
Yeah.
no color.
Oh, I know.
My dad was always black and white guy. I've got photograph albums out in my garage from generations, and I mean, I've got me on a horse riding my horse at Corriganville. I mean, do you remember?
I've been
All
there.
these old things I've got from the
Yeah.
late 40s, early 50s. You know, when we first came to California from Chicago, and those are in perfect condition. And to me, that's the history.
Well, yeah.
When they started colorizing, it was you lost detail.
Well,
you
there's
know?
a bit of prejudice against color. Now anything goes here, but the advice I got from Mike Nelson when I was curating for the California Oil Museum, I was doing an exhibit on the St. Francis Dam disaster, and he gave me the best advice about curating. He said, tell the human story. It's not about the geology, the rocks. It's
That's
about
important,
the human story.
But human story, the people that made those,
Right.
the people that had the stories,
And,
that's infinitely more interesting.
It's a little more difficult to penetrate, because then you have to sort of understand human nature and say, how are you going to present that? But
I love oral histories,
Yeah.
and I mean, you probably have heard a million of these oral histories over
and
the
they're,
years.
but to say, okay, are your oral histories more or less important than a famous novel?
And so by you doing this, and then actually having some oral histories, we have these wonderful collections that we'll have forever, these preservation. I'm so in awe of what you do because of that. That's why I asked you to come on, because
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by what you do, because you are a storyteller as well. And you've got these wonderful stories, and you saved me that little tidbit on Louisa, huh? You weren't going to tell me, right?
No, this is part of my strategy.
No, that was a great surprise.
Surprise!
It was a
Because
great surprise.
you have to be startled by reality in order to get your attention. We're so bombarded by the media. My senses are being dulled.
You're almost overcome by too much.
Yes.
It's an overload of too much.
Right.
And this
Constant
scrolls me back
barrage,
to something of simpler.
A simpler time, and
simpler
maybe we
times.
could learn to improve our existence by
Life
watching
lessons?
people just sit on a bench and
Contemplate
under a tree
and meditate. Thanks for coming on. What a
You're
treat to
welcome.
have
It's
you
been fun,
back
yeah.
here. I really appreciate it, honey. Thanks so much.
All right.
And thank you at home for joining us. Got to have John back for the next one. You're going to do a noir. I know you will.
Sure.
We'll get you back. This is your second time.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.